Now another of our reports on changing the public school systems in Washington, D.C. and New Orleans. The NewsHour special correspondent for education, John Merrow, reported on the latest from Washington last night. Tonight, he returns to New Orleans, and he looks at the plans for dealing with some of the toughest schools.
Back in. We don't want to lose a single student. In fact,
from the moment School Superintendent Paul Vallas arrived in New Orleans last July, he's been selling his vision of the future.
All the schools and in the entire system will begin their day next year at 8 and they'll go to 4:30. Good morning. All of our 8th and 9th graders will be in school year-round.
With a mandate to turn around the Recovery School District, basically the city's worst schools, Paul Vallas is planning a massive redesign of the district's high schools.
We cannot afford anything less than excellence.
All the high school principals know that beginning next year, their schools are going to begin their transition to the future, so to speak.
Rob Wynn is Vallas's largest high school, where only 50% of seniors graduated last year.
The plan here is to transition Rob Wynn into an international high school with a very large international baccalaureate program.
But at Rob Wynn, teachers have been too busy dealing with day-to-day concerns to spend much time thinking about Vallas's grand plans.
He's on my schedule somewhere.
Scheduling problems at the beginning of the school year left students in the wrong classes well into October.
Oh my God, it's tripping.
Let's go back to your first period class.
Students would just be walking up and down the hallway, like during class. So it was just a lot of traffic. It's like a circus.
Rachel Hammer is a first-year science teacher.
Like, remember Galileo's experiment?
I had several moments crying and weeping in front of my class and being like, you do not deserve this. It was just this really tense environment, and morale was just plummeting.
Keep walking, keep walking.
By January, conditions showed little improvement. A deputy from the district paid a routine visit to Rob Wynn to check in on the school.
They sent an RSD lady over to talk to the teachers and just kind of survey morale, to ask us some questions. And I remember she came in to my fourth period, this period, and it was just kind of like, hey, real quick, just give me 1 to 5. What do you think about these administrators? When she came in, I just got big tears in my eyes, and I was like, where have you been? Like, I'm really thankful to answer these questions. I'll give you the numbers for my administration, but it is January. We've been suffering for like months.
The performance of Rob Wynn's rookie principal, Adrienne L. Boyd, came under scrutiny.
Good morning, everyone. I'm never comfortable about my job security simply because there's this underlying current. The principal is the first to go. And I cannot think of any other career besides principals and football coaches that you choose, and then you can be here today and gone today. So we had a lot of schedule changes to take place, but thank you for your patience.
We're going to assess whether or not we need to make leadership changes. You know, everybody's being evaluated, make no bones about it.
But Rob Wynn wasn't the only troubled school on Vallas's radar. To handle a growing population of what are called overage underachievers, Vallas set up a special school for 8th graders who've been repeatedly held back. But just like Rob Wynn, Booker T. Washington was plagued by problems and would require extra attention.
The greatest challenge we face is the fact that our kids are so old, so much older than they should be at that grade level, and so far behind.
The test that you're going to take today, tomorrow, and Friday is like a pre-lead test. Take it very seriously.
At Booker T, most of the day is supposed to be spent preparing students to take the mandatory state test called LEAP, which they must pass to move on to high school.
Come on out of here. What's going on?
However, rampant behavioral problems disrupted students and teachers alike.
Well, don't keep clowning. You're going to have that same seat next year.
You're taking a quiz. Bring me your quiz. No, bring me your quiz.
You come to class, falling asleep, not paying attention, taking things for a joke. That's not the way to be successful.
Dale Bowers is a first-year math teacher.
How do we find our numerator for right here?
And I got a class full of 26 to 28 students, and only 1 or 2 are really interested in learning.
We found a school that was in crisis.
How's it going? All right. In December, Paul Vallas brought in Camelot, a private alternative education provider, to help manage Booker T. Washington. Todd Bach is Vice President of Education Services for Camelot.
Our focus in the first phase of our being involved at Booker T. Washington was to begin to establish a culture so that learning can take place. So we focused a lot of our attention in behavior management and supporting teachers in the classroom so that they can give instruction and kids can receive that instruction.
Camelot established firm rules. It posted personnel throughout the school and limited movement in the hallways.
Where are you supposed to be?
At first, they tried an approach of like really aggressive and like getting in kids' faces. Well, how many times is 3 going to 18?
Luke Stratner teaches math at Booker T.
I think they realized that that's not going to be the way to get to them. And since then, they've kind of backed off. So I think now they're trying to get to know the students and take a different approach.
Some kids would say, well, you know, it's a lot stricter than it was before. And to me, that's a positive thing. Strict is good. It's not easy to be told you're 16 years old and you're still in the 8th grade. And these kids have courage for showing up every day.
Can 3 go into 0? No.
We're talking about many years of underperformance from students that isn't going to be changed in 2 or 3 months, or maybe even in the school year.
We're getting there. Rome wasn't built in a day. Today's our 42nd day.
Although Vallas is willing to be patient, he expects results.
42 days.
Let's see what happens at the end of the year. You know, it's a performance-based contract. If they don't perform, they will not stay.
Back at Rob Wynn, where troubles had simmered all year long, Vallas decided it was time to remove the principal, Adrienne L. Boyd.
You know, I just felt that she was a bit overwhelmed. Rob Wynn's a tough school, and, you know, so the feeling here was the school was not going to get better under the current leadership.
Raven.
Vallas replaced Boyd with Rob Wynn's assistant principal, Mavia Marsalis.
Young man, tuck that shirt in, please.
The assistant principal is dynamic and charismatic.
Good morning, ladies.
And a strong leader, and people had a lot of confidence in her ability.
Didn't I tell you I needed to see you?
Yeah.
So you're going to see me today?
Yeah.
I'm not going to chase you.
All right.
Since the principal has left, the new principal has been really strict, much more strict with the policies. And when she says something, she means it. And that I found it's so refreshing.
Young people, let's go.
The big changes at Rob Wynn and Booker T. Washington may reveal something about Paul Vallas's plans for the rest of the district.
Do you anticipate replacing a lot of your existing principals?
Well, I don't know if I anticipate replacing a lot, but we'll probably replace some. You know, I'm not going to parade out principals or teachers or give you a body count. You need to be careful that you're not grandstanding and that you're not alienating your rank and file.
We talked about 4 causes of World War I.
But if I'm a teacher working for you, should I be nervous about my job?
Well, if you have problems of poor absenteeism, poor attendance, if you have a low expectation for children, if you're showing up at school 5 minutes before the school day begins and you're leaving school 5 minutes after the school day ends, I think you should probably be a little nervous. You know what I mean?
Having arrived with grand visions, Paul Vallas has learned that in New Orleans, change happens one small step at a time.